All right, so dynamics of intelligence. So what are some of the factors or things that we know about intelligence? And one of the things that we know about intelligence is that, that our intelligence changes as we age. And there's different kinds of intelligences though that we have to look at. So based on this chart, at what age might you do best at completing a crossword puzzle? So what's the interesting things is about intelligence is that we know that things like vocabulary increases, okay? However, things like reasoning, visualization, memory, and speed of processing all decrease with age. So kind of makes sense because if you think back to when we were talking about the brain and neurons and stuff like that, neural activity is what, causes us to be able to complete things quickly, right? Our implicit type memories. So all of that stuff starts to decrease as we age because of just neural degeneration of old age. Just like everything else in our body kind of starts to degrade, our brain does in a way too. However, our vocabulary increases slightly as we age. It keeps growing, our depth of knowledge, kind of things like that. So actually age 63 tends to be the time when you would do best on completing a crossword puzzle, because that's kind of when you're that verbal knowledge hasn't started to decrease as well, because you're starting to see some of that rapid memory decay. So what do we call this? Well, we call this fluid and crystallized intelligence. Okay, fluid intelligence refers to the ability to think quickly and abstractly. Crystallized intelligence refers to accumulated wisdom, knowledge, expertise, and vocabulary. So your fluid intelligence is the thing that you start to lose as you age. However, your crystallized intelligence is the one that that you keep. Okay, right? So think about old grandma, grandpa at home, right? They have a routine. They have to follow their routine. If anything breaks in the routine, it's a big deal. Well, that's because of they're losing their fluid intelligence. They're losing their ability to react, to think outside the box. They have to have that routine to know how to go. However, grandma and grandpa can tell you every little thing that happened on any particular date, and can tell you all these stories about your mom and dad and your aunts and uncles and you when you were little without at the drop of a hat, right? That's because they haven't lost their crystallized intelligence. So your crystallized intelligence is kind of your crystals, your chunks of knowledge. Your fluid intelligence is your reasoning, right? Your ability to reason. And that's what you lose as we age. Now, the stability of intelligence test scores over lifespan. Pushing toddlers to learn does not seem to help much, okay? Only by age of 4 is a child's performance on intelligence tests a predictor of future performance on intelligence tests. So all of the other stuff that we do before that age is kind of all really correlational stuff. Okay, so based on the results of a longitudinal study, and this, what this chart kind of tells us is that, does intelligence test scores at the age 11 predict intelligence test scores at age 80? Okay, so yes, it kind of does. However, some of the problems with this is how many of these people survived to the age of 80. So this might not actually be a representative sample. Okay. So again, we do know that there does tend to be some stability of intelligence. And again, this is support for that idea of the little g, right? That we all have this general kind of base intelligence. And then obviously education and things like that definitely help us to maintain and keep that intelligence level as well. Now, we saw this in the video that we watched, that the Scottish longitudinal study, that 11-year-olds with higher intelligence scores lived longer and more independently and were less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. And then in a study of nuns, those with lower verbal ability were later more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease, which includes a shorter lifespan. Okay, so what are some of these probabilities for these? Well, we know that doing brain puzzles, and we know that things like that, Sudoku, crossword puzzles, decrease your likelihood of getting Alzheimer's disease. So perhaps there's something with education, using your brain. The more you use your brain, the more likely you are to kind of prevent this Alzheimer's or the onset of Alzheimer's. So is it really have to do with intelligence score, or does it have to do kind of more with education and using your brain? It's a question. All right, that's it for this one. Next time we will pick up with the extremes of intelligence. So again, the two really important things to remember from that section are the crystallized and fluid intelligence. Fluid intelligence thinking abstractly, what we lose as we age, crystallized intelligence, chunks of knowledge, kind of your accumulated wisdom, what we keep as we age.